Alright, this is my first attempt at a video regarding resin. My name is Viola Grace. These are my hands. Hello! And these are molds. This is where I start when I make the coasters. Always have paper towels, it's handy. So there's one fishy coaster. There's two fishy coasters. There's one mermaid coaster. There's another mermaid coaster. There's just one more mermaid coaster. Hooray! Now, what I'm going to show you how to do is how to make the mermaid, how to color the little accessories, and then these are all beads. And this is glitter. Ooh, beautiful glitter. Alright, so this is where I start. Okay, so when it comes to the mermaids, I've purchased the molds to do so. This is one of them. This is a new one. I haven't used it, that's why it's clean. I'm not a very clean crafter. These are the molds that I made myself to cast the fish. The original fish were buttons. So now I can make more whenever I need more. This is my first time casting these little skulls. I've already put the powder inside them, but you'll see how I do that in a minute. And these are seashells. You can make as many or as little of these as you want. They just give an added dimension to the mermaids. It makes it look like she's catching something because all the molds are the same. So, we're going to go for fish. To start, I'm just taking Pearl pigment powder, and I'm taking a paintbrush. And in this case, the color is Duo Violet Brass, and I'm just dabbing it into the fishy mold. This one's big lips are going to be purple. This one's nose. And its fins. If you hear any clunks and thuds, that's my cat in the background. Mr. E is very interested in the crafting process. And interested in sticking his feet into resin. The amount of times we've had to grab him, one of us holds him while the other one uses alcohol swabs on his feet to get the resin off. It always makes for a very exciting evening. Because then he's not speaking to me for like days afterwards. Now, I'm getting sloppy and I'm using a lot of this powder, but the powder, you use so little per item that I'm never concerned with thickening up in a project. You know, the powder is relatively cheap. And so the duo colors that Pearl has available are really pretty. Basically, at one angle they look like one color, and another they look like another color. This one looks brassy in a certain light, and purple in another light. So, And I also have another one here that's rose gold. It has the same effect. And I believe somewhere I have blue violet, but it might be in my other case. So, alright, so I've done a shell, I've done a few fish. Now, since I have this one open, I don't like to keep switching powders. I like to do one powder at a time, basically so that I know which ones I've used already. Because once it's in against the background of the mold, you can't really tell what you're doing. Now this one you want to get all the way around, but not cover the entire space because her face is in there and that's going to be a different color. But again, I'm not that fussy on it. And you can always just cover it up with glitter later. Okay, so I'll do her. She has violet hair. This one will have a violet tail. Now I started doing resin work because I have a little bit extra on my brush, so I'll just use it up. I started doing resin work because I was doing items for to give away for promotional items. And now I'm still using the same paintbrush. And I'm picking up a blue. This also is a Pearl-Ex powder. It's just the small size. They have two sizes, big and little. Sometimes you can't get what you want in the big size, so you get the little size just until you can get a hold of the big one. And yeah, I'll probably end up speeding this up while I work on it because it's going to take quite a few minutes for me to get this over and done with. For me to get everybody painted and appropriate. But before I do that, I will just show you, sorry, I can't physically do something and talk at the same time most times. This is a color called Interference Violet. It's lovely. It's like this creamy violet white, but if you see it, the skin looks somewhat metallic. That's the coloration. The powder actually gets in there and it gives it interesting highlights. This one has the Interference Green as a highlight. I have blue, green, red, purple in these interference colors, and I find they're very nice for mermaids. So I will speed this all up and I will get it back to you when I'll start talking again when I'm ready to apply the resin. Now comes the casting resin portion of the viewing. because I don't need it clear, and I don't need these guys see-through, obviously, I'm going to use the Amazing Casting Resin. It is a 2-part resin. It hardens very quickly, and it mixes very quickly. So you do small batches more frequently, and then you won't waste resin. Because it will actually set up before I finish, you know, pouring the mermaids, for example. So I'll probably end up pouring 3 batches of this. And I get the stuff at Michael's. I use a 50% off coupon. Everything is right in the world. Now, resin is a 2-part plastic, and when you combine those 2 parts, you can make a mess, and they have a chain reaction. So, if you get resin in your clothes, it will not come out. If you get resin on a fine dining table, it will not come out. I am working on top of a table that I don't mind scrapping. I am working on top of paper, butcher's paper with the plastic side up so I can peel off any hardened resin. And on top of that, I'm working on a silicone mat, which oddly enough I've purchased at Amazon. Oh, the mermaids also were purchased at Amazon, as were the seashell molds. The skulls I purchased at AliExpress. We'll get into where you get what you need later, possibly in the notes. Now, this is a silicone measuring cup. Yay! It is squishy, and I got this at AliExpress as well. And it has the numbers. I should watch my fingers here. It has the numbers on the outside of the container. Now, sometimes when you're using them and your hands get a little gooky and you get a little slick, it can be hard to see your pouring lines. So I do that. Most people are very sane and sensible. They pour it into 2 cups and then they combine it into 1. I suppose I can do that today. I have this one marked A for the resin, and this one marked B. And so I'll just try and pour approximately the same amount, or pardon me, exactly the same amount into each cup. And then I'll pour them in here for mixing and pouring. I've punctured a hole in the top. It lets me control how much comes out so that it don't gush a whole bunch out. This is the sane and safe way to work with the resin, which is why I rarely do it. So there's that amount. And since I'm going to be doing a lot of pours today, actually doing it in the cups will save me quite a bit. And we're good. Okay. Now the yellow one is the hardener. The clear one is the resin. When this gets going, I will have about 30 to 45 seconds of stirring time. Okay, and I'll put that over there for now. And now it is going to go clear without trailings. If you make soap, trailings are are a good thing. They're when soap starts to where all the fat and all of the lye have interacted. Okay, so there's that. And now I start to pour. Sorry if my hand is blocking. But again, speed issue, blah, blah, blah. I do try and pour the little arms, because otherwise you can have a one-armed mermaid, which is perfectly fine. You just have to position her slightly differently. And already the resin is going from having a runny water-like consistency to being kind of a thick honey. And it's warming up. I can feel it under my fingers. It does not burn. I'll just do some fish here. Now the fish, I'm used to actually, again, because these are being used in a project, I'm not that fussy on their appearance. I fix them later. Or, since I'm a writer, I edit the fish. Okay. You can see it getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So when it gets like that, I pour it into the most open molds I can find. Okay, and that's it for the first pour batch. This one is already solidifying, this one is already solidifying, this one, the fish are going, that's going. Again, I'll fix that later. Use either a knife or a scissor, but now if you wanted to, if you don't like the white backs immediately, while it's curing, you can just sprinkle some glitter on. Since this is my go-to background color on the mermaid and fish bowls. But this is the part that you'll see from behind. If not, if you don't do this, and I just dumped way too much glitter on that, and obviously I won't do it to the skulls. Alright. On this one, I made a mix of glue and glitter, and then I just applied it with a little mixing stick, and then let it dry completely, and then embedded it in the clear resin. And so now it looks like everybody's going, and well, so since everybody is off to the races, I'll get another mold cup and or another resin cup, and I'll be right back. Although this one, if I waited a few minutes, I can actually peel the resin off here. So this will set up in 5 minutes. I'll be able to take them out of the molds in 10. And in the meantime, I'll just finish filling everything up, and you'll probably see hands going really fast, starting now. Okay, now I'm going to demold. And clean up. There we go. See, this is what happens when you forget to paint the tail. You end up with a quasi-albino mermaid. Anyway, so this stuff right now, it's still soft. The resin is still soft, so you can pinch it and poke it, and this is the ideal time for manipulation, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so I can either leave her as is, which I'm probably going to, or I could paint her tail on. But either way, she will get her little eyeballs painted in. As will these guys. Now, because this is an angler fish, I do something immediately to him that I don't do to the other fish. Oh, that sounds bad. But he's basically tidied up now. These are my favorite scissors in the whole wide world when it comes to this. $4 at Dollarama. Yay. Sorry, $4 Canadian. Never forget the Canadian, it's important. Alright. Now, this is glow-in-the-dark dimensional paint. And anglerfish catch their mates with glow-in-the-dark. What's it? So I just put a dot on there and I let them dry. And I have another one over here that I'll get to, but he was in the second batch, so he's not as set up as that one is. So I'll pop out the second mermaid. And they come out looking really cool. But I do go in and I put a black dot on their eyes, you know, for eyes. And you can make their skin tones, whatever Pearl-X powders or pigments you have. This one is delightfully blue. I may have overdone it on the glitter, although some would say there is no such thing. This glitter is called Salty Green. I get it from a bulk glitter company in the States. And then I post to my friends online that, yay, I'm getting an order of glitter in the mail. Being Canadian, most of the fun stuff does have to come to me in the post. So, and what I'm doing here is I'm just tearing around her her tail with my thumbnail, because sometimes it's easier to get a thumbnail in than it is to get scissors in. And there she is. Yay, very dramatic and elegant. Fishy. And I have absolutely stunning molds left over after I do that, by the way. And if a little bit of glitter gets onto the next mermaid, ah well. Oh, see, I was kind of going for a Halloween theme with her, and boy did I nail it. So she came out pretty clean. Alright. Now, because, see, he has like a little gimpy tail. Because I was self-taught with the mold making, I made a lot of mistakes, but I did end up with 2 or 3 or even, I forget how many molds I have for the fish. Some of them are better than others, but I like to show off when things goof up, but they're still, oh look, isn't it cute, and he's so fishy. Things goof up, but they still come out looking really cool. Now these were really deep buttons, and they had a lot of grooves, and so the molds have a lot of grooves in them. And sometimes those grooves can flop over, and that'll leave you with a dead space in your casting. And so you either deal with it, like here, it's a little crackly on top. That's where the molds are kind of pushed in. So you either go in, you can trim them. You kind of bend your mold backwards and trim it up. And if you'd like to see how to make molds, I can do that. I have the silicone for it. There we go. Alright, so I have my fishies. My fishies are good. And this set of fishies are ready to come out too. This mold is cleaner than the other, or it is at least for the anglerfish. Everybody else is just kind of jammed in there. Apparently I went with a single color on this one. But right now the stuff is pretty soft and easy to clip. It hardens up really quickly, so this is not something that you want to do and then, you know, go to the grocery store and then, or go out to the garage or start the barbecue and then you come back in. You kind of want to keep an eye on it. Yep. Right. So I'll get rid of the tail, and since this is also an anglerfish, I'll put the glow-in-the-dark drop on it. Put that over there as well. The reason I do that right away is so that I don't forget that it needs to be done. And technically it doesn't need to be done, but I like doing it, so there you go. So apparently all my fish are tidy. I have my itty bitty school here. No, I don't. Haha! I thought it was too few. These ones jump ship, which is a perfectly acceptable thing for fish to do. They don't have to be on a ship. Anyway, so this is just basically how to do the how to make your own embeddables for the to make a coaster. You don't always have to buy stuff. I mean, buying stuff is perfectly fine. Few if any people should actually go to the effort of having this many fish coasters in their home. Well, my friend said she would take them to the craft sales, and so I went into production. Alright, so yay, fishies! Alright. I gotta... This, you have to... It has to be one of the first pours that you do. It also has to be one of the earlier cleanups that you do, because it's already stiffening up. And it was from the second pour. If you can hear the slight snuffling snore in the background, that is my cat. He's also one of the main characters in my current book. And he also has an unusual fondness for deli meat. Oh, I guess it's not that unusual. He's a cat. Alright, so I have a little skeleton hand. Yay! I'll pop out this little skulls and see how they... Oh, they came out a treat. So I'm going to make a very fun Halloween type coaster. Possibly several. There we go. Oh! See, now I can fill that with glow-in-the-dark paint, dimensional paint, and that would be fun. And then put it in a coaster and watch it light up the night. Okay. And you can antique these and do all kinds of wonderful things to them with washed out or with thinned acrylic paints. Make them pop. Make them look angry. Well, the skulls tend to look angry. Either angry or really amused. There is no halfway point. Yeah, I'm keeping you with me until I finish all of these. You were here when I started, you're going to be here when I finish. You're not hostages, you're forced observers. Of course, I suppose you can just, like, stop the program, but... See, that's where being in a hurry kind of bites you in the butt. I kind of over chopped that one. And also, if you don't paint right to the top of the mold, you get that that coloration. I do not mind it because nature is wonderful and colorful and sometimes bland and now, where to get molds? Basically, wherever you can find them. Some people are not comfortable waiting 6 weeks to get their stuff from Asia. I don't mind it, because then it's kind of like a big present that's already been paid for when it finally arrives. But lately I've started shopping at pandahall.com for a lot of the stuff. And they have a lovely selection of molds, and you don't just get one, you'll get 10. Because it is a craft wholesaler. But they do sell to anybody and everybody. You will have to pay customs and duty when it comes in. That is part of the joy of shopping overseas. It's a low discount price that your government is not a fan of. So you must be punished. Well, not really punished. But, you know, just you got to be prepared for it when it comes in. You will pay. It's usually a price pretty equivalent to what you paid for shipping. So just, you know, when you're trying to figure out if it's fiscally feasible to make the purchase, keep that in mind. Take a look at what the shipping cost is. They have an excellent shipping calculator. And then figure out what your, oh, that one's pretty. Figure out what your duties will be from there. Your duty charges will be from there. But oddly enough, unlike AliExpress, you do get Panda Hall does send you notifications when they are shipping the stuff. So it's always, you know what's coming. It's not a surprise that, hey, there was a DHL for you or whatever, and you need to pay. So, and I'd like to go on about this purchasing stuff because a lot of people, it catches them by surprise, and it shouldn't. You know, international fees mean, or international purchases mean international fees. Now this is a little bit of kind of sponge coral. So again, I take out the dimensional paint, the dimensional puffy paint, and I make it puffy. And this way, when I use it with the mermaid, you know, somewhere somebody's going to be turning out a light, and the coaster is going to be glowing softly. So, that is it for fast casting, which is where I thought we should start. You know, start with the bits that you're going to put in to the bits later. Because, you know, if you build these up now, then later on you can make 6, 10, however many of these you want at a time. Thank you for joining me. The next class, or next online thingadair, will be snow globes, because those I don't need to use a lot of resin to do. So snow globes is the next episode. See you soon. Bye bye.